Alright guys, what is going on already? My name is Fabian and today I actually have a small tutorial for you. So on my Facebook page, recently people asked me how I made this image, which is kind of a Stuz0r style. If you don't know Stuz0r, check him out, he's an amazing artist and this image is clearly inspired by his art, so I gotta give him credit for that. Before I start, I just want to say that this is a quite simple image. It's also pretty fast. It took me about half an hour to make. And yeah, let's get right into it. So we're gonna open up Cinema 4D. Well, we need that later, but to actually get this huge woman, or I don't know if it's a man or a woman, I don't remember. I'm gonna show you. I made a human using Stuz0r-Style Render. After that, I exported it as FBX and as OBJ. You're probably asking, why do you need an OBJ? Well, the reason for that is that I don't know why, but for some weird reason, whenever I open Marvelous Designer, which is the software we're going to use to make this this cloth here, it gives me an error and it imports the human without the pose. So first up, we're just gonna go into Marvelous Designer, which is the program we use to make the cloth. So we're gonna import the monk I made in DAS, and it's actually a male, I think, but yeah, it's a male. So next up, we're gonna draw a cloth on top of our human with this tool. It should be about this size. This should be the right size. Okay, so we got that. Put it on top of him like this. Next up, hold on. Next up, we're gonna rotate it so it falls like that. And I also rotate on about 45-degree angle. It doesn't have to be exact. So next up, we're gonna use this tool, which is the cut tool, and cut in a small circle that is a little smaller than the head of the human. So we're gonna cut it like this. Now we're gonna right click and cut, and now select the circle again, and we have a hole in our cloth. So the hole should be about over the head of the human. It's not exactly on top of him, but it should be alright. So next step, we're gonna drop it with this button here. We're gonna drop the cloth over his head, and we see that the hole is too small and the cloth is too small too. So you just have to rescale the whole thing. This is something I don't really know how you actually calculate it or something. It's more a matter of trying, for me at least. Doesn't necessarily have to be for you as well. Can also be just, you know. Maybe you know how to calculate it, I don't. So here's the head. And we're gonna drop it again and see if it works. Yes, it does. So as you can see, now we have the wanted cloth on top of the male. So next up, we're gonna export the whole thing as FBX. So we're gonna export it right here as monk, and it should be at millimeter. I'm gonna put it like, no, I'm gonna put it as centimeter. Should be right. Okay, I'm just gonna leave this open in case. I also think you should leave this open in case something goes wrong, so you can export it again. And I just closed Cinema 4D. I had it open before. Okay, so we're gonna go into Cinema 4D and then just import the whole thing. Where is it? Here, there it is. Hopefully it works. Yes, so here we have our monk, as you can see. Alright, so we imported our Marvelous Designer model right here. We have it in Cinema 4D. As you can see, the texturing of it is quite messy. So what I always do is I also import the model or the FPX of the human I got from DAS directly. So what that does is we can have actually the normal textures right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna deactivate the OBJ I got from Marvelous Designer, and I activate my normal monk. As you can see, it's not scaled like 101. But to fix that, we just can rescale the OBJ. You know, it was quite good, to be honest, as we don't see the top of it. So next up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna retexture the whole thing again. But that is not a pain in the ass as you think, because we have all the textures right here, as you can see. We just have to re-import it image by image, which takes about, I don't know, a minute. So I'm just gonna skip that part. Okay, so I'm done with most of the textures. I just put on those that you actually see from the camera angle of the image, like right here. Yeah. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna place just a random, like a normal plane under it, like that. And also make sure to push it a little on this side, as we don't need that much space over here, but we actually need a lot of space in the back. So next up, I'm gonna use one of my favorite roughness maps actually. I'm just gonna wait for Octane to load. Octane always takes so much time. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna load. No, we're gonna load the diffuse map. We're just gonna make a black glossy texture and put this map. Wait, I'm gonna 1 second. I'm gonna search it because I have tons of textures and stuff. So we have my puddles texture. You can just Google puddles roughness map and you will find plenty of those. And as you can see, it will give me like, yeah, a puddle effect. So I'm gonna apply this to my plane. I always put it in cubic and see what that looks like, but I'm gonna look at it later because I don't have lights yet. Now wait, I'm just gonna convert all my textures to Octane. Yeah. Like that, and then obviously make them diffuse because the human skin is not necessarily glossy. So next up is importing some of the humans, like the small people down here, which are a model called Molten, I think, which I got from TF3DM, which is a great site for free models. Let me see where I have humans and Molten. That's the dude I used. We gotta have it here, right there. Let me just deactivate the plane really quick. It's so dark I can't see anything. Okay, and I think the size, like most of the time I make it. Wait, let me just put this in a null object so I can scale it. Quick tip: don't scale humans like this, because yeah, you see what happens. You get like a really weird creature out of it. Scale it with the coordinates right here. So I mostly use like 0.1, I believe. I gotta see how big that is. No, it's still too big. 0.05. Yeah, that's about the size I used. Just rig it. Hold on a second. There we go. So the only thing I did here actually was reposition the arms. Like this a little bit. Yeah. And the left shoulder too. This and like that. So if you think like why does the part of the armpit actually move? That's actually because I suck at rigging and I didn't use Mixamo. But it doesn't really matter, you don't really see it, so yeah, that's why. Okay, so we got one human, then we got, yeah, that's I don't know why that happens, but it doesn't seem to be a problem at all. Okay, so we have our 3 humans right here, our plane like this. I'm just gonna import a camera really quickly. Okay, so we got 90 degrees, I think, yes, and 0, 0, 0, 0, and okay, hold on, like this, yeah. They're still too. Okay, wait, I gotta reposition the plane actually, because it's a little too. It's actually a little too small, to be honest. I guess I used a bigger one in the original image, like this. Actually, I think the people are too big. That's what happened. Oh yeah, and I always use 1000 by 1000 pixels. That's what I use. All right, so we got that. Okay, this is right. 90. No, fuck. 90 like that. Yep. Nope. Wrong one. Like this. Yeah. So next up, we're gonna increase the focal length a little bit, like this, and let the camera look upwards a little bit, just a little bit, like this. So we have 90 and about 3, should be fine. And I also move the camera a little bit to the right, so this part of the foot and this part are actually in the middle and not the other way. So I actually saw that the humans are a little too big, so I'm gonna decrease the size again to 0.01, 0.01, 0.01. There we go. Should be about the right size. Next up, I'm gonna open Octane, because now we're gonna start with texturing and lighting. I use the path tracing always. So let me just figure out where I put this, because I usually use 2 screens and I don't know where to put. Yeah, that should be fine. Put it like this. Yep. Okay. So here we have our scene for now, and I just saw that my Mortons are not textured yet. So I'm just gonna use a black texture because we don't really need a texture on it, because they're gonna be black anyways. So we're gonna delete all that, put black on it. Then where's the other one? Delete all that, put black on it again, and delete all that and put black on it. So we should have black. Yes, so we have, so we have black people now. And I think the puddle texture actually works quite well now. It doesn't look too bad. I remember when I made this the first time, it looked horrible because the puddles were so big. They looked like an ocean. So next up, we're gonna actually put a subdivision surface on our cloth, just to make it a little bit smoother, as you can see. It's way better. As of the texture of the cloth on the image, I used a white glossy texture with a quite high index, like this, and a film width, so yeah, a yellowish film index. So this should be alright, like this. Yes, I guess the index is a little too high, to be honest. Yeah, this is about right. So next up, we're gonna place the lights. So for that, I'm just gonna untick check camera so we can move freely in the viewport, and camera actually on Octane doesn't move. Now we're gonna make a target. No, we're gonna make it just a normal light. Like from this side right here, I used a white light like this, and from the other side, let me just like that. I used a slightly bigger and brighter, obviously, orange and warm light, like this. Okay, now for the wall in the background, wait, let me just find the image again because I closed it by accident. As this back wall right here, as you can see, this is actually quite simple. This is using a dirt shader. If you don't know what a dirt shader is, I'm gonna show you now. So I used a plane, another one, slightly bigger than the previous one, because it's in the background, so it has to be bigger to fill out the whole space, like this. Should be fine. Okay, so now we're gonna create a new Octane material, but don't do anything here. Oh wait, go into the node editor, like this. Now, we're gonna use 2 Octane materials and 1 mix material. I'm gonna just place it like this, so it's easier to do. Then we're gonna select a dirt shader and a gradient shader. Or a gradient, I don't know if it's shader, but whatever. Then we're gonna connect the dirt shader to the input of the gradient and put the output of the gradient to the input of the Octane mix material amount. Next up, we're gonna connect the first Octane material to the material 1 and so on. Then I used a program called JS Placement, which is a free program to make 8K displacement maps. It's honestly one of the best plugins if you're searching for random displacement maps. You just click and it generates you a random sci-fi displacement map. It's awesome, and you also have some settings. It's pretty cool. So I have my texture already, which is the one I used before. So we're gonna select the displacement, put one in here like this, and input this texture I used from the displacement, which is this texture right here. Don't forget to put the level of detail to 8K as well, so you get the full resolution. Okay, so this should be fine. I don't know if this is necessary, but I always do it. I also put in an image texture with the same image again, like this, and put it into the input. I don't know if it's necessary, I just do it because I'm used to it. Next up, we're gonna use a black glossy material like this as my first material, and as the second material, which is gonna be these outlines, I will select a, hold on a second, I will make an emission, a black body emission. I don't remember how powerful I made it. I think I made it pretty powerful, but very subtle. So we're gonna go back here, and this should be fine. Okay, so now we're gonna put this material, the Octane material, the mix material, sorry, on my plane. And it should give me, yes, as you can see, it gives me this great background right here. But what I'm gonna do is I actually have to decrease the amount of, wait, I'm just gonna put this on the other screen. Wait, how do I do it? I'm not used to using one screen, sorry. I'm gonna do it like this so you can see what I'm doing actually. The bitmaps over here. I don't need that. Okay, yeah, that's better, like this. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna select our first, obviously the black body emission has to be way stronger. Yes, more like this. Yes, okay. Now the dirt shader, you're gonna play with it a little bit. I'm gonna put the radius down. As you can see, it just controls the outlines of these things. The details are gonna be slightly more, a little less radius actually, so I don't get. This should be about it. Yes, I think that's it. Should be it, yeah. Put this a little further on. There we go. And now, last but not least, a fog volume. And actually, see that this shouldn't be glossy. Sorry. There we go. That's way better. So last but not least, we use a fog volume, which is this one. We're gonna make it, so as you can see, the fog volume is quite small, and if you make a huge fog volume, that will take a lot of GPU power. So what we're gonna do is, or CPU power, I'm not sure. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put the whole scene into another null object. Make sure to unprotect your camera if you have it protected. So it will actually do something to the camera too, because we don't want any change in the actual scene. We just want it to be smaller. So we're gonna put in 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. So the fog volume is now about the same size as our scene. So now we have to just increase the size of the fog volume, which will be, I think 300 should be alright in length. Yeah, about 200 in height, and again 200 like this. Should be fine. Should be completely fine. Okay, so now I'm just gonna check camera again so we can actually see what we're doing, and uncheck it again. Protect the camera again so I don't do anything stupid. And now we can actually mess with this. So as you can see, I used a slightly gray orangey kind of brown tone for the fog. And you now see that we actually have to increase the light a lot. So the white light, I think it's alright like this, like it is here. And the orange light has to be a lot brighter actually. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And a little bit more orange. Yeah, like this. So now we have this image right here, and that's about it. The last thing I'm always doing is I'm searching, whoops. The last thing I'm always doing is I'm searching for a good, obviously also post-processing, a little bit of bloom is always good. And last but not least, the response. I'm always searching for a great response on a camera that looks good. I don't know if it doesn't have to be realistic or something, just has to look good. I think I used this one the last time, which is about this. Yeah, actually white light was a little bit brighter, I think, like this, and the orange one was a little yellowy. It should be fine like this. Okay, yeah, that's basically it. And then after that you just add some filters and some lens flares and stuff, and you're basically done. That's how I made this image. It's very quick one. As you can see, I took barely 20 minutes to make it. Obviously on the original, as you can see, the cloth is quite long, not less here, but you get the general idea how I made it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped you. Again, shout out to Stuz0r. I'm gonna leave a link in the description to his Instagram if you want to check him out, because this picture is actually inspired by his style. Yeah, thanks for watching and have a nice day.